Welcome to Bike Comparos. Today we'll be comparing the Bajaj Dominar 400 versus the Royal Enfield Classic 350 Redditch Edition. Pricing and features. The Dominar 400 non-ABS retails for 1.53 lakh rupees on-road Delhi, which is just 5,000 rupees more than the Royal Enfield Classic 350 Redditch Edition costing 1.48 lakh rupees. The Classic 350 may be slightly cheaper, but the Dominar has some noteworthy extra equipment over the Classic like the rear disc brake, slipper clutch and LED headlamp. But that's not all. The Classic 350 even skims on some of the most hygiene features like a fuel gauge and tubeless tires. These features combined are worth at least 15,000 rupees, making the Dominar around 10,000 rupees cheaper than the Classic 350 if you consider the actual value instead of the sticker price. Dominar 400 is also available with ABS for an added 15,000 rupees extra. Performance and tractability. Despite Bajaj's best efforts, they could only improve the Dominar's low-end torque up to a certain limit. That is because the Dominar has the same hyper over square bore stroke as the Duke 390, plus the Dominar is not a lightweight machine by any stretch of imagination. This makes it quite humdrum to ride at lower revs compared to what you'd expect from the 400 moniker. The Enfield on the other hand has an ultra long stroke motor with torque peaking at a lowly 4000 rpm. Coupled with the soundtrack of little explosions that it produces, it feels faster than it actually is on city streets. However, show these bikes an open stretch of road and the Dominar leaves the Classic gasping for breath. The Dominar does its 0 to 100 sprint in just over 8 seconds while the old girl Classic struggles to get there in under 15 seconds. The Dominar can clock a top speed of over 150 kmph given the right piece of tarmac, while the Classic struggles to even cross 120. The Dominar still needs some fettling to address its refinement issues like clattery tappets, clunky shifts and snatching at lower revs. But in spite of that, the Dominar is immensely more tolerable than the vibrating, misfiring cacophony made by the Classic 350. Reliability and after-sales service. Bajaj is still a laggard in the market when it comes to making trouble-free, long-lasting products and ensuring a good service experience to its customers. A brand new product like the Dominar 400 poses even more of a risk of developing teething troubles, and it is advisable to adopt a wait-and-watch policy for the first 6 months before putting your hard-earned money down on any brand new Bajaj product. That being said, the Dominar is still bound to be more reliable than the appalling reliability record of Royal Enfield bikes in our country. Even after 60 years of essentially selling the same product, Royal Enfield hasn't been able to address even the most common issues of electrical short circuits, oil leakage from the gasket, rusting on brand new bikes, paint chipping, wobbling and so on. Bajaj's service and spares are also far more sensibly priced than that of Royal Enfield's. Fuel efficiency. Both bikes returned more or less identical fuel efficiency of 31 kmpl in our back-to-back tests. Resale and cost of ownership. Thanks to its crazy popularity amongst the most irrational quantum of bike buyers in the country, the Classic retains incredible resale value after 5 to 7 years of ownership. Bajaj bikes on the other hand always sell at a discount compared to their competitors in the second-hand market. The Classic 350 is bound to fetch at least 10,000 rupees more than the Dominar of the same vintage. Overall, the Classic 350 works out to be 15,000 rupees cheaper than the Dominar 400 in terms of total cost of ownership in the long run. Handling and ride quality. The Dominar is quite a handful around the bends. The main culprit is the excessive rake angle, which may look great and give it the right proportions and stance of a power cruiser, but it has compromised its agility, which is especially evident around the switchbacks. It shows that the styling department prevailed over the dynamics department sometime during the development of the bike, which is a very sad sign of things to come. The Dominar is also sprung far too softly, which gives it a great ride at low speeds, but coupled with its sheer mass, it causes excessive pitching when you apply the front brake in spite of its extra long wheelbase. But those little flaws pale in comparison to the sheer dynamic disasters of the Classic 350. Its antiquated iron tube chassis has so much flex that it throws the rider all over the place when faced with broken surfaces. Cornering is nothing less than treacherous as there is no feedback to predict when the bike will suddenly lose grip and throw you onto the tarmac. Comfort and ergonomics. The classic 350 has pure commuter biased ergonomics which perfectly suit its pot-bellied midlife crisis battling target customers. Its bicycle-inspired seat is good only for posing at your middle-aged friend's hangout spot. Try riding for more than a couple of hours straight and your senior citizen lower backs will revolt in agony, and don't even get us started on those ridiculous underseat springs. Its minimalist body panels and curvy teardrop-shaped tank makes it seem easy to maneuver around town until the time it needs to be parked, which is when you have to manhandle its 187 kilograms of bulk. Dominar, on the other hand, always feels ungainly big thanks to its plastic shrouded tank with big extensions, heavy handlebars, and fat tires. On the move, it just feels a tad bit more tedious to maneuver around town than the classic, but its generous seat and mildly forward leaning seating position is good enough to munch hundreds of miles without a break. That brings us to the verdict. The classic is not a bike, she's a girlfriend which 40-year-olds buy to live the life that they secretly wished for but they couldn't live because they were desperate losers in their younger days. They are still the same losers, but now they can afford to live the life of those studs in their college on the weekends with whatever little money they have saved from slaving for the past 20 years in a dead end job. They ride to nearby watering holes with other oldies at blisteringly fast speeds of 40 kph on their cheaply customized pseudo Harleys, wearing oversized riding gear, Ray-Ban aviators, and open-face lids. The Dominar, on the other hand, is at least an actual motorcycle. It does everything that a motorcycle is supposed to do better than the classic 350. It accelerates quicker, brakes more safely, cruises more comfortably, has more ergonomic seating, lasts longer, rides more pliantly, handles more confidently, sounds more refined, provides more features, and even costs lesser to service and repair. No prizes for guessing that the Dominar 400 is the clear winner of this shootout.